Those that are brand new with Touchpix, we're just going to do a refresher. We're going to try to get through a quick setup with Android, and then we'll take questions, right? So for those of you that are new with Touchpix, Touchpix is an app that you can use with iOS, Android, and kind of a sneak preview on some stuff that's going to be out. You're able to use Touchpix on a Mac computer that has an M1 M2 silicone chip, right? Not going to say what for as of yet, because we have some surprises for you coming up for our Photo Booth Expo next month. But a Mac Mini, you'll be able to use that to control Touchpix. And that's probably all that you're going to get from me. I'm kind of teasing you a little bit, but there's a lot that we're going to show, and you're going to be so happy about some of the new experiences that we're going to release with the silicone Mac. Just hopefully you guys can wait. But for those that are new, you're going to register with Touchpix as you would normally do, right? If you're brand new to Touchpix, you're just going to register for an account. We always recommend that you register for an account with a business name, right? Not your personal iCloud. I know some people do have their personal iCloud and they're able to navigate okay. But if you're brand new, we just want to indicate, like, just register with a business iCloud account, right? So there's two ways where you can buy Touchpix. You can buy it via the Apple App Store. That goes through the Apple app ecosystem, where you're able to make purchases on your phone for that device. Please note that if you do make a purchase on that device, you're going to have a subscription registered with your Apple iCloud account, or any email that's registered to that specific iOS, whether it be an iPhone device or iPad. If you're going to use multiple devices, it means that all of your devices at that time need to be registered with the same iCloud account, right? So if you're going to have 3, 4 iPads or some iPhones included, yes, they will all work as long as you make that subscription and all your devices are registered under that Apple ID or Apple iCloud account. If you don't want to go through the hassle of registering every single device with the same iPhone iCloud account, there's no need for that, right? There is a separate subscription, which I will show here on our webpage. Under shop, you're going to see our packages, right? You can get what we call a dual pass. Our dual pass consists of subscription base for the week, month, half year, and it gives you now some enterprise type offers that we bundle together. If you're going to just be using Touchpix and you don't want to use it for like 360, and you're just thinking maybe you just want to try the artificial intelligence, the digital background, and you just want photos, we've also made it a little easier and more economical for you to choose from, like our Photo Pass. Our Photo Pass, you can do the artificial intelligence, you can do the digital background without the green screen, you can do the photo gifts, you can do anything that's photo related on Apple or Android devices for $18.99, which is more than half. We cut it more than half for photos only, right? The price. So it can be a bargain for you. The only limitation with the Photo Pass is that you won't be able to do any types of videos, like 360 videos, like video confessionals, or even the boomerang function, because the boomerang function for us in Touchpix is a video effect. But it really gives you the option where you can be a little flexible, and say you have an event, you booked an event and it's only photos. You don't have to spend the $50 a week. You can go ahead and go with the $18.99 if you're just doing photos, right? I will say this, the Photo Booth Expo is coming up. I urge everybody to go to the photoboothexpo.com to learn a little bit more. I believe the expo dates are going to be, let me pull up my calendar. I believe it's the 19th of February. Make sure I'm giving you the accurate information. Yes, it'll be basically 19, 20, and 21st of February. It's 3 days in Las Vegas, South Point Hotel. That's the time, or that week will be the time where you can actually get Touchpix probably at the lowest price of the year, because that's our big show. We do exhibit there, and you'll find Touchpix for $6.99 for the year. We only discount the yearly subscription because it's what makes most sense and it's easier to navigate, right? So please, if you're going to be interested in renewing, we're always going to have a similar sale every year around the same time, so it'll make it a lot easier for you to renew. It's a great bargain for the full entire package, which includes video and photos. So $6.99, it is a bargain. So with this, Thomas, I see you have your hand raised. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just wondering, is that going to be available for people that can't attend the
Yes,
conference?
it will be available for people that can't attend the conference. And there's going to be, if you're a member of our Facebook user group, we will be posting on that with a coupon code that you can apply it at the checkout.
Awesome.
So yeah, it'll be up for about a week or maybe a little bit over a week, but just keep your eye out on that. Okay. So,
Awesome. Thank you.
so you do have flexibility on depending on which package you purchase. Remember, the Apple App Store version only works for iPhones or iOS devices. The Dual Pass works for Android or Apple, right? The limitation to the Dual Pass is that you can use up to 4 events, but let me be clear, 4 events at the exact same time. You can set up 4 events in different areas all at the same time, have them running at the same time. Now, when I say events, it means like, say you have a 360 booth that you have somewhere, let's use the city of, maybe let's use Chicago, right? Maybe you do stuff outside of the Chicago area too. Maybe you do stuff down in Florida or any other state. You can have 4 running at the same time. So what I want to explain too is that it doesn't mean that if you do a 360 booth and you want a sharing station, you're going to use up 2 of your licenses by activating a sharing station. It doesn't mean that. Every event that you create, you'll get a sharing station option that does not take up a device space, meaning that if you do a 360, you can also have a sharing station and then it will not utilize one of the 4 options you have to activate, as long as you activate that sharing station as a sharing station. Okay, so you can have up to 8 devices activated for events and 4 sharing stations is what I mean by that. So hopefully I'm clear on that. So that's the only limitation. And as soon as you're done with an event, you can close it out properly by scanning the QR code. And once you close it out properly by scanning the QR code, you can move it to a separate event if that's what you wish. It's important for me to say that because what I mean by closing it properly, a lot of people delete the app and reinstall. It's important that for the Dual Pass subscription, you do not do that because it's not going to clear from our system unless it's closed out properly. And you're going to have to contact support so we can help you clear that device. So please close it out properly. I see Carrie with her hand raised.
Hi, I'm Kerry. I have a question for you. I've had situations before. I'm kind of new to Touchpix. I've been using another app and a PC-based 360 application before, so I am kind of fresh with the Touchpix. Trying to get accustomed to it. It seems like a pretty cool app, hence why I'm on to this webinar. But my question is, sometimes we've had events where we've done two 360s in the same location and using two sharing stations. Is it possible that I can have two instances of Touchpix running in the same location and 2 sharing stations using the same Wi-Fi signal?
Absolutely, it is possible. So with sharing stations, if we get a little bit of time, we'll dive into some of those settings, but it is absolutely possible. Wi-Fi signal or no Wi-Fi signal, depending on your equipment. I don't know. I didn't ask if you're using iOS or Android. I think it predominantly works better with iOS in that sense for your application, but it is possible to use it on Android as well. There's variations of how to activate the sharing station. The variation sometimes depends on Wi-Fi and Bluetooth connection, right? That they both need to be triggered on, or there's a way of doing a sharing station, what's called an online sync, which does require internet, and it works with uploading your videos through an internet connection to your sharing station. But it is definitely possible. If you're having some issues, I'm gonna have, maybe if Julian can put that in the chat. We do have a support team that we do one-on-one meetings via Zoom, and we'll walk you through whatever is needed. You just have to sign up for a slot and we can definitely take care of you. But it is possible, and if I have time, I won't be able to show 2 different events because I don't have that many devices on me now. but perhaps we can schedule something with your setups, and then we can walk you through how to achieve that.
Okay, thanks. Oh, and last thing, can you cross-platform? Can I use an iPhone to run the 360s or sorry, can I use an Android to run the 360s and iPad for the sharing station?
Absolutely. There's a way to do
Okay,
that. That may
thank
require
you.
internet, but absolutely, you can definitely do that. Okay.
Okay,
So
thanks.
no problem. Any questions with our pricing structure before I move on and do a complete event setup real quick before I go into the Android system? You guys are good. You guys understand that? Okay, perfect. Okay. So once you register for an account, you're going to log into your account. I think I'm going to go into my account here. And my account here, this is what we call a dashboard. And if you're new to Touchpix, our dashboard is kind of going to be something that you're frequently going to see and have access to create your events. Up here, you're going to have some choices. When it goes to create an event, it gives you a couple of options. And some of you newer people, I think it's more of a preference thing, but a lot of people like to use a custom event or an event with the preset. So for people that are brand new, the presets kind of does everything for you from the beginning, right? If you're using a spinner of some sort, it'll ask you some questions, and depending on what you have, you're going to select that option. So if you have a non-motorized spinner, it has an option where it's going to set up the settings for you to make it a lot easier for you to operate. So it'll ask you some questions if you have a TV slideshow, if you're going to have a printer. So the presets are great, but at the same time, I like to show it the other way with the custom event for the reason that even if you do select presets, everything's going to be branded towards Touchpix branding. So you're still going to need to know how to go in there and make adjustments to swap out Touchpix for your brand. Input your information. That way the client is not getting things that say Touchpix on it, right? It's just a placeholder that we put in place. That way, hopefully when you get access to our app, you know how to kind of maneuver around it a little bit better. So I'm going to go back up here where it says create an event, and I'm going to create a custom event. Okay, so that's going to be my first step. The first step is to name your event, right? I have a practice of dating my events. So for example, for today's webinar, I'm going to just give it today's date, and then I follow it with whatever this event's going to be. In this case, if it's a wedding, I'll put wedding. If this is a webinar, I'm going to put webinar because I'll identify it a lot quicker. And I'll show you why naming the event is important. It's very important, especially when you're creating your overlay, because you want to make sure that you're applying that overlay to the right event. As you start using Touchpix more and more, you're going to see your event list grow. So some of the stuff, when you're applying your overlays, you just want to make sure you have quick and easy access to where to point the artwork to. So for this, I'm going to name it today's date, and I'm going to call it webinar. It's going to be in the English language today. It's very important that you put your correct country of origin because this could affect the text messaging aspect. So if you're from outside the United States, make sure you're putting your country of where you're located, okay? Today, I'm going to do kind of a generic setup. I'm going to activate a lot of functions today, but mainly the GoPro. So I'm going to go down the list. So ultimately, this is a list, and it's going to explain to you what these areas do, right? It'll determine the delay before the image is taken. This is a countdown. So like any other photo booth, when you press start, it'll count down before it actually starts recording or taking a picture. I like to set mine at 3. The next option, it gives you a beep sound. So whether you're using an iPad, an Android, or an iPhone, every second will give you an auditory sound. You can enable that. If you're in a venue where you have a DJ, you have a band, you might not be able to hear it, but I, as a common practice, always leave that on. Really, it's really a preference, and hopefully you guys can get used to your style. The mirror overlay preview is, we'll get to when we design a design for the overlay, right? Design a design, that sounded a little weird, but we'll get there. And typically, if you enable live view and you have this checked off, your live view is going to look like it's backwards. It doesn't mean that the picture is going to come out with the artwork backwards. It's just giving you that mirror effect. I always disable it. You can enable it. It's really a preferential thing, okay? So what Touchpix The other thing is that we give you options. We give you options if you're using an iOS device, right? For a lot of iPad booths that are standalone iPad booths, people like to use the front camera. So if you use the front camera, you just leave this unchecked. But if you're going to use like an iPhone or an Android or something separate like a GoPro, you can leave it unchecked. But some of the iPhones, when you use them, just know that the rear camera on the iPads or the iPhones are your best quality camera. The Android, we're still working on the Android camera selector, so you'll have a little bit more options. But also, if you want to use your Android with the rear camera, it'll be available really, really soon with the rear camera. You can do it now, but it'll give you more options as far as frame rate. So if you're using a rear camera, you can always select it, right? And for now, we're just going to show you, because I'm going to go over a GoPro setup. I'm not going to check it, leave it blank. Camera exposure. So whether you're on an Android or whether you are on an iPhone device, I like to leave the camera exposure enabled because it gives you access to your camera settings. And if available on that device, you can control like the exposure, you can control the contrast, or you can control the other elements like the ISO, just like a normal camera, if those options exist on that device. So I leave it enabled. You can see what your style or workflow looks like. QR app protection, for those that don't know, if you accidentally enable this, right? This is mainly used for people that use drop-off iPads or booths or something similar to that, unattended booths. If you accidentally select it and you want to make a change to this backend or the backend settings of Touchpix, it's going to ask you for the QR of the event. Without the QR of the event, you will not be able to access the backend settings, and it's mainly to protect your device. If you're using a drop-off unit and you don't want your guests to have access to the backend, then people enable this so they can't change any of the settings. But if you're going to have a attended booth and you're going to want to tweak it on the fly for maybe roaming or any type of other booth that you want to run with Touchpix, you can deselect it and make it available for quick adjustments, okay? As we go down the list, printing is an option with Touchpix. There's several ways you can print. We recommend you explore some of our own products within the shop tab. We do have what's called a print server that we sell. It's actually a very slick way of printing that avoids guests knowing that it's an iPad booth. You don't have anything on there that indicates it's an iPad. A lot of people might have heard of another similar module and other similar modules that are branded by maybe by a printer brand. They offer something similar, but they use AirPrint. My biggest pet peeve with AirPrint is that whenever you want to print via AirPrint, the default iPad print page comes up and it tells everybody he's using an iPad. I dislike that. I don't think it's professional. I don't want people to know what equipment I'm using, because if your guests kind of think, oh, well, he's just using an iPad, I think they get a little discouraged for paying premium service if they think it's that easy. So although it does work with AirPrint, you can definitely use it that way. Our system works with kind of a Wi-Fi direct or hardwire, and it hides that default print page that is native to iOS, and it's just able to print pretty slick. I see two hands raised. I don't know who was first, but
Mo was first.
okay, Mo, go ahead. Questions?
My question was about back in the beginning when how many devices can be connected
Okay.
at once. So I guess we can keep moving and I'll ask it at the end because you're going forward to
Okay.
kind of where I think you'll answer my question.
Perfect. Okay.
And I just had a question about the printing. So
Sure.
Is that also available for Android? Will that device work for Android?
Yeah, the device will work for Android as well. Correct.
Okay, and it won't show it like I don't know how Android on printing is, but it won't show the screen or anything.
No, it's all through our internal system. Correct.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. So yeah, so I recommend, I mean, there's other options out there, sure, but we are always going to recommend what's more professional for you to use as a business. And this is why we recommend our print box, but you can also use any other air print box
We
as well.
can't hear
Just,
you.
are you able to hear me?
Yeah.
I can hear you.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Sounds good. Okay.
Okay.
So yeah, so it's just really what you want to use regarding the print box. We just offer a more professional way to print. Um, so we recommend our print box because it's not AirPrint, it's a Wi-Fi direct or a wired printing box. But we also give you a free way to print as well. It's a little bit more, it's a little more outdated because this was out with when we launched Touchpix originally back in 2020. If you go over to the support tab here and you see the downloads tab, you're going to see a Windows PC print server. So it's a little program that is loaded to your Windows computer. You do need to bring a little laptop of some sort to connect it via Wi-Fi, open up the print server, and make sure that the printer and the iPad are under the same Wi-Fi, and it's a free way of printing. It works on DMP printers. It does work on high T printers. It works on, there was one other printer, let me see, DMP, high T, and the other one was Mitsubishi.
Yeah,
So it's not,
Mitsubishi.
yeah, it's not compatible with every printer, but those major printers that I just mentioned, it is compatible with those. Okay. So in
I,
this case, go ahead.
I have a question in regards to that. So the I have the other device. So I was gifted a printer, the
Okay.
DMP,
Awesome.
and it comes with the other device.
Mhm.
Um, oh, I lost my train of thought.
No,
Oh,
it'll work.
which it'll work. You're saying it'll work,
It'll work, correct.
but it'll still show the fact that I have the
An
I.
iPad, correct.
Okay.
Because the other device works under AirPrint protocol. So
Mm-hmm.
that AirPrint protocol, when you hit print, you will see the printer page of your native iPad. It looks like an iPad, and you'd have to select the printer and hit print. And it's kind of a giveaway, and I just don't like the look of it. But
Mm-hmm.
it'll work. It'll get you through your event. It'll print pictures. If you don't mind that, then it's fine. But if you want to look a little bit more professional, what I say is go with a Wi-Fi direct box, such as the one that we offer.
Okay. So what if I use my laptop to print with the iPad?
Yeah, you won't see that. You won't see that dialogue either. It's a Wi-Fi direct method.
Okay, so that looks better, but is it
Correct.
slower than the device?
Well, it's not slower and it's not faster. They're
The
probably about the
same.
same. Yeah, they're probably about the same. What I would suggest, since you do have them, you own them, you're not purchasing anything new, is try them at home and see which one works best for you.
Yeah, I have an event Saturday. I just got the printer
Yeah.
yesterday.
Yeah, just give it a try. But you know what? Now that you say that, I would actually, if I was in your situation, I would actually take a laptop with you as a backup in case something happens or something's not working right. Then you can switch from one to the other.
Okay. Okay.
I noticed somebody had their hand up.
So I got one more question about the printers.
Sure.
You said Wi-Fi Direct. Would that work with any printer that has Wi-Fi Direct?
No, it works with specific printers. Typically,
Gotcha.
our PrintPix box. Are you talking about the print server? Or are you talking about the print server for Windows or the box that we sell?
The box that you sell.
Yeah, so our box that we sell, they're pretty much. I think they're compatible. I want to say with like 90 to 95% of dye sublimation printers.
Okay.
So it's compatible with the major brands for sure. There's a couple of odd brands that it's not compatible with at the moment, but I think we're making some strides on getting there.
Gotcha. And then as far as the tablet communicating to the printer, if that's Wi-Fi Direct, would that achieve the same results?
As far as the tablet communicating to what printer specifically are you talking about?
I don't have a printer in mind. I'm just thinking if instead of using like AirPrint or some or whatever it was.
Yeah, so if you're going to be using a photo booth printer, I'll let you know now, like the photo booth printers are dye sublimation printers or specific printer for the photo booth industry. You don't want to use like a home printer that probably has Wi-Fi Direct. They're just not made for that, first of all, and it uses inkjet instead of thermal printing. So we recommend looking into a dye sublimation printer. DMP is a great brand, but any of the dye sublimation, I think you'll be fine with.
Okay, yeah, I haven't looked too much into printers, so I wasn't sure if there was a dye sublimation printer that had Wi-Fi Direct. And
no, there's
if
not.
there is,
There's nothing
sure
in the
it'd be quite
market.
expensive.
Yeah, there's nothing in the market at this point. Okay, so with regards to printing, you have some options. You have the air print option. The auto print option, no printing, and manual printing. Manual printing will just give you the option to set a limit. There's some events where guests want to print a lot of pictures, but you can set what that limit is, and you can definitely set it in here and manually select print. Right. The auto print, if you're using our print server or our box, typically it auto prints after the session is done. Right. And if you don't have a printer for your event, then hit no printer. For now, we're going to go with no printer. We're going to scroll down, and this is kind of the bread and butter of our software here. This is the experience. I'm going to activate today. Let's activate most of them. That way you at least know what they look like. Even though I'm using a GoPro, some of these might not work on the GoPro because of the way I'm going to connect to it. But if you're using, later you explore like a DSLR, more professional camera with the flash, then by all means, you can use a lot of these functions in that same capacity. So I'm just going to leave everything checked off. But if you're doing like a 360, only check off 360. You don't need all these options, because then the more options you check off, it means that you're going to have to create a overlay for every option that you're using, because the software is not going to know what overlay goes to what experience, right? Customer wants photo, you got to make sure you give photo an overlay. Customer wants a video, you're going to want to make sure you give the video function an overlay. Same thing with all of the other ones. So if you're just doing 360s, then just select slow-mo. If you're just doing photos or photos artificial intelligence, just select those. But since I'm doing a general tutorial, I'm going to leave them selected for now. You can control the repeats, the boomerang speed. You can control the number of photos, whether it be 3, 2, or whatever you want to do with GIFs. Video maximum duration. This video here is not for slow-mo. The video here means for this video function here. What is it used for? A lot of people nowadays are doing video confessionals for weddings, right? They'll set up a little iPad booth on the side with a microphone or Bluetooth microphone and allow guests to go up and say congratulations to the bride and groom, and it has a video confessional type feel to it. You can market it that way. At the end of the event, you give the customer all the videos with all of these complimentary confessionals that the guests have left. So it's a really cool way of doing that. So you can record up to 15 seconds or up to 30 seconds. The higher the number, the longer it takes a little bit to process. The lower the number, the faster it is. But 15 is kind of the sweet spot. That's why it's set to default. So you could go from there. As far as slow motion, if you're concentrated solely on slow motion, the slow-mo recording time is down here. It records as a default for 4.5 seconds. That doesn't mean that the video itself is going to be 4.5 seconds. It means it's going to record for 4.5 seconds, and the software will add the slow motion. You can add the boomerang effect here that is enabled, and it prolongs the end result, right? So be mindful that we usually recommend maybe a 5 or a 6. Play around with that number. The higher the number, again, the longer it takes to process. The lower the number, the faster it is. A 4.5 second default right now, I think, gives you about 14 to 16 seconds of output, right? If you move that number up to maybe 5, it'll give you a little bit longer than that. And really depends too. A lot of people use what's called outro videos to highlight their company name or brand. That also gets added at the end of the video. So just keep in mind that you can actually use those videos, and I'll show you how those are added a little bit later. So hopefully that made sense. Any questions on this part here?
DJ, we have Nikki with the unrated.
Okay.
My question goes back to when you were talking about the support tab. What did you say go to if you were to go to that support tab again?
the support tab to contact Touchpix support.
Oh, okay, those you're just referring to. I thought you were saying if you needed to use a printer from the support tab.
Oh, no. If you needed to use a printer, no.
Okay, I misunderstood. Okay.
Yeah. No, if you have questions regarding printing, you can contact Touchpix support, or there's a link in the chat that Julian dropped that can actually get you a one-on-one type of meeting and walk you
Okay.
through. Okay.
Okay.
Any question with any of these settings here?
No.
Okay, perfect. So now we're in the part where you can add audio. Add audio is, you can do it a couple of different ways. This is probably one of the most commonly used ways to add audio. If you look at the disclaimer down here, it only accepts MP3 files. We have a lot of users, especially first-time users, that think they can use any file from their Apple Music, right? Because they pay for Apple Music. Apple Music doesn't allow, first of all, Apple Music is not an MP3 file. It's a different type of file. And they do that on purpose because they don't want you to utilize their music, which is copy protected, somewhere else. So you can use any MP3 file. I'm not going to tell you where to get MP3 files. I think you guys can YouTube information on that. But I would always encourage, as a professional company, if you have a professional brand that you're charging for service, use royalty-free music sites, right? Which means that these royalty-free music sites have something, have an instrumental, have similar sounds to mainstream music that you're not going to get sued for, right? Or that Instagram or Facebook is not going to block because it's copyright protected, right? So if you have a file, save it onto your computer, and all you do is just point it. Where is that file located, right? So let me see. In my specific situation, I have videos there. Let's go over to Touchpix files. I don't know if I have that here ready to go. Nope. Let's go over to the desktop. And I should have some tracks right here. This is just a generic anime track for an event that requires some anime music. And as you can see, I called it anime track, something really short and to the point. The file cannot exceed over 20 megabytes. Usually MP3 files are probably about 2 or 3 megabytes. So the fact that they're allowing for a huge track is really weird, but at the same time, you can load your own music here, okay? Screen flash is for people that are using iPad booths. This kind of used to simulate what a flash looked like. It just, before the picture is taken, the screen flash is white. You can, if you're doing iPad booths, drop-offs, you could leave it on or off. I don't think it makes that much of a difference, but play with it. It's an option, it's there, okay? As we scroll down, I'm going to show you, I'm actually going to delete this track because I'm going to show you a different way too. So let me see, I'll show you a different way. No file selected. Okay. So timeouts here, this is something that causes a little bit of a delay because if you're using Photo Booth, it lets you edit your pictures. Like people can put props after the fact. But I usually want my lines to go quick. I don't need any distractions. I don't need any delays. I don't need it to stay on the thank you screen for 8 seconds. So I put numerical values of 0. I don't want props to be added by the guest because it causes huge lines, and I just put 0. The only thing that's important here in the timeouts that I would recommend is give it a number in the sharing department. I usually use maybe 6 or above. Don't give it longer than 12. What this means is it will allow a guest up to 6 seconds to enter their phone number before it goes back to the start recording screen. So just give it any number. If you feel comfortable, maybe leave it at 8 and kind of go from there. Thomas?
If they're in the middle of entering their email or something, would that interrupt them or would it wait till they're done?
It'll wait till they're done typically. As long as they're entering it and there is touch already initiated, it'll wait.
Awesome, thank you.
Cool. So yeah, sharing is the only thing that needs any type of numerical value. Anything above 6. So now we're getting to the sharing portion here real quick. Sharing portion, what do you want to share, right? I usually discourage from using Facebook. I don't use Twitter. I don't use, what else don't I use? I don't use the copy. And any of the other ones is fine. Facebook and Twitter, the reason I don't use it is because it's going to cause every user to log in to their own Facebook account with their own credentials. It won't automatically post to Facebook because of their privacy laws and third-party apps having access to that. So I leave it off, but if in the event you want to use them, they're there. Email address, SMS is what we call text messaging. It's included in your subscription. You don't pay, for example, you don't pay a Twilio fee like other software has you do. It's already included in the subscription price to text as much as you want for the duration of your subscription. The download button is very important because especially for iOS users, especially for the like 360 videos. So when people get say they get their text message, and if you have download enabled, typically a client will get a link via text message because the video file is so big, we store them up in a cloud server. So they'll get a link to that file. If they click the link and the download button is not selected, especially for iPhone users, iPhone by default uses a Safari web browser. So the Safari web browser will open up, but you won't have a way to download it on Safari by itself. So you always want to make sure you check off this download button, because if it is checked off, when people get their link, it'll have a download button so they can download the video to their device. Okay, so always just be in the habit of clicking download. AirDrop is pretty self-explanatory. You don't need internet for that. As long as people are sharing iPhone to iPhone, it works. We don't have a way to do that yet with Android, right? But hopefully with some new Android releases, there may be a similar way to share that's similar to AirDrop with the Android system, but it's just not there yet. QR code, you can share by QR code. If the user selects QR code, a QR will pop up. Please note that the QR code, the text messaging and email, even WhatsApp, it does require internet connection for you to share. If you're sharing a video, it'll require, I always tell people at least, I always recommend 15 megabyte upload, or maybe as low as 10, but I think that should be a standard. If it's a picture, you need something much smaller than that, like 3 megabyte upload. And I'll tell you what I mean by that, because I'll do a test on the Android when we get there. Okay, same thing with WhatsApp. So once you have your ways of sharing, then you can go here to these prompts and you can change these and maybe put your photo booth company name here on the subject. Please note that for the email, you can actually put your name in here. You can put your phone number in there. You can put probably your web address. All of that's fine. But for text messaging, we ask you to keep it real simple, okay? So don't include your email. If you do include your email, like for example, I would do something creative like this, touchpix.com. Because what happens with text messages, there's a lot of restrictions right now that if the company sees that you're sending or you're sending numerical characters, it's going to flag it as spam, right? And some of the messages won't go through. So for text messages, just keep it very generic. Maybe put your company name, but if you're going to have to put your email address or your website, spell it out. That way it doesn't red flag it and people can have access to it as quickly as possible. So that is just a tip. Because that has been an issue way in the past. And since we changed our system, everything's been working more fluid. And as long as people are following the rules here, I think we've had more than 90% success rates and everything being delivered. So it's really awesome to see. Web gallery as well. We have an online web gallery where at the end of the event, you're able to give the entire web gallery to your client via link. And it'll give them a message if they do web gallery email message. Social sharing description, you can customize any of these to reflect your business. This will be in the body of the email typically. Same thing with the social media message. If you select Facebook or Twitter, it'll have a message indicating where it's coming from, right? Down here where it says props, we do have props. They're done post. meaning that you can apply them after the picture is selected. And you can pinch to zoom, resize them, tilt them, do whatever it is that you want. I typically don't use this because it takes a long time for guests to pick, and you don't want the lines to be held up, right? And this is only right now available for iOS, not Android. Hopefully we'll have an Android version release sometime in the near future. I know it seems like a lot, but this is just a quick form. It takes me about 3 minutes to fill out this entire form or less now. But you know, I'm going through every step. I'm explaining every crease. That way you guys feel really comfortable with this. So the app name, you can actually put your company name here, right? You can put Touchpix, you can put your company name. The app logo. So the app logo, you can see the logo. It'll replace the Touchpix logo. You'll find it on the last screen of the session in the app. You know, you can also fit it on top of the branded gallery, which means that if you have a sharing station and you go into the gallery, you'll see it right above all your thumbnails. And it'll replace the Touchpix logo on top. Typically, if you have it on the TV, that's where it'll go as well. So you can get really creative. It'll give you some parameters, right? 4 megabytes. We always recommend that if you're doing an app logo, I like to keep it the size of a TV. I scale it to my TV if I'm using a slideshow. So I'll do like a 1080 type of scaling, or 720 is fine. Pixels is what I mean. So for this, I'm going to go ahead and choose a file. And I believe my file for that, I have this like logo here that I'm going to use. Let me see if I can find my Touchpix folder, because I should have a Touchpix folder somewhere around here. That's the old brand. So let's go with this here. Yeah, let's just use this. Just giving you a quick example. So I'm just going to use this logo here. So if you're doing a logo for a client, this is a client brand. Select it. It'll place it there. For the app background, right? It's really going to depend on the device that you're using. So the app background is where if you're using an iPad for a photo booth, it's going to cover like the start screen. You're going to see the Touchpix icons right in front of that logo. If you're using an iPhone, you want to make sure that it's sized to your iPhone, right? So everything has a different size and picture. My recommendation for this sizing, because I can't give you a universal size, is do a screenshot from whatever device you have. If you screenshot the home screen and you right click on your picture from a computer, it'll give you the dimensions of that specific screen real estate. So whatever logo it is that you're working with, just make it whatever that size of the screenshot is. So for example, this is my screen logo here. This is probably from my iPhone that I used. And the screen of my iPhone, if you can see that dimensions there, it says 1170 by 25 by 32. That's the screenshot, right, of my iPhone. So if I were to pick this as my app background, it should fit my iPhone perfectly. I haven't done a screenshot on my Android, but let's see how that works. That's a GIF, by the way. Let me try to get a PNG file. Again, please follow the parameters, whether it's JPEG, MP4, it'll also do PNG. Follow these parameters here. The web gallery logo, this is what the guests will see once they go into their web gallery. When you give them the link at the end of the event, you're going to give your customers a link to all of the pictures or videos. You can put your logo, or you can put maybe a logo if you're hired by a company, maybe put their logo there. So just so you can see how that works, I'm going to use the old, let's use the old Touchpix logo here, since I haven't updated yet, but gives you an idea what that looks
Where
like.
would this one appear? The web gallery?
Yeah, so once you give your client a link to all of their files and the client clicks on the link, it'll take them to the web page, and that logo is going to appear behind all of their thumbnails that they have access to. So it's more of a branding type of logo, so that they know how to get a hold of your company if that's what you want to do. One of the key elements that I want to share, I didn't use a track screen. We're not there yet. The track screen is basically a video file or a picture file that when your iPad booth is at a standstill, it's idled, it's not being used, it just flips over to the track screen just to kind of brand your photo booth or brand that specific event. Some people out there make some really cool attract screens that causes the screen to change colors. It brings attention to it. You can use it here. It's not needed, but you're able to do that. The other element that I wanted to show is if you're creating for example, the app background, right? If you saw my logo that I use for that, let me see. The logo that I use for that is this logo here, red, right? It's a red background. If my background was white and my text box here is white, I'm not going to be able to see the text color for the Touchpix app that say photos, boomerangs, all of the experiences, you're not going to be able to see them. So be mindful of that. Whatever background you choose, mine's red, so white is going to come out pretty nice. But in the event that I had a white background, I may want to change this to any other color but white. I may use black or anything that pops out really good on top of the white color. So for now, I'm just going to leave it there. Okay. We're almost done here. We're going to do triggers. This is for the 360 for people that have maybe manual spinners or people that just want the application to start recording on its own. Maybe you have an automatic spinner and you don't want to touch the screen every time you have a remote. Motion trigger enabled means that once you hit start on your automatic spinner, the iPhones or the Android devices, they have a sensor on the phone that can trigger the app when the phone is being moved, which starts the recording process. It was big for people back then when they used manual spinners. In this case, you don't need it, but if you want to try how it works and how responsive it is, please go ahead and make a check on that, and we'll go from there. Lastly is these external screens, right? For people that want to do slideshows, for people that want to do maybe a live view of the recording on the photo booth, certain devices allow for live view recording. That right now is on iOS, the iPhones. It'll allow it on the iPhone, and it'll allow it on the DSLR camera. It will not allow a live view recording on the GoPro because of the GoPro limitations. But if you select it and you want a slideshow, you can always, instead of external session, you just switch it over to slideshow. And whatever TV you have around, it'll play a random slideshow of all of these sessions that you have taken that night. The QR carousel, if you have good internet, it'll provide individual QRs for every session that is displayed on the TV at the bottom. It only plays the most recent 4 sessions, right? So people sometimes say, how come I only see 4 or 5 QR codes down there? Well, because we only play the 4 most recent sessions, and it just eliminates a lot of clutter because it's not going to display every single QR code of all the videos that you've taken the entire night. So I don't use it, but you can use it. I'll disable it, but it's always an option. I see there's a couple hands. I don't know who raised their hand first, Thomas or Mo.
Go ahead, Mo.
Thank you. For the external screen with the slideshow, that's only for Apple TV, or are us Android persons able to use this now?
So the Androids are now able to use it via Chromecast, right? So you can use it with the Chromecast device. It is available. You're able to use it. So it's no longer just an iOS function. So yeah, if you have an Chromecast device and you have like a smart TV that's either a Google TV and you can cast to it, you can definitely do that now.
What's a Chromecast device?
Chromecast is a little HDMI dongle that you plug into the back of your TV.
Okay.
Right, and it's called a Google Chromecast.
I need to get it because I
Yeah,
have a Samsung smart TV.
And if it's a Samsung Smart TV, chances are, you may want to try it without it. Some of the smart TVs also have built-in Chromecast already, especially a lot of the newer Android-based TVs. They have built-in Chromecast systems. So you may want to try it. And if you can see your TV from the sharing portion or the from your device, if you can see under the screen mirroring process, then chances are you can cast it without buying anything else.
When what do you mean? Like when I take my phone and mirror it to the TV?
Yeah, once you open up the mirror function on your phone,
Oh, so we see it.
you
Yeah, we
see it.
see
You
it.
see it.
Yeah.
It opens up a special part of our app, which is a slideshow. So
Uh,
once the mirror actually happens and that handshake for mirroring happens, that second portion of our app opens up the slideshow and it'll recognize it. You just wanted to make sure that the connections are capable via the Chromecast situation.
okay, I'm gonna have to set up a session because my son set my phone up to mirror the TV, but it shows exactly what my phone is doing, but not the special, like
Got it. You
yeah.
make sure that you enable this external session, right?
Mhm.
And usually when you activate that event, the phone downloads some resources. So once it asks you to download some resources, it means you hit OK. That way, everything that's needed will work fluidly. So just get us during the session, and we'll walk you through the steps.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to schedule that tonight for tomorrow.
Got it.
Thing.
I
And
forgot who. Yeah.
that kind of goes in line with the question I had. So um, it's awesome to hear that you can use Chromecast. So the Chromecast you could be streaming from the Chromecast from the same device that you're using to do the 360 videos.
Correct. That's
Okay,
how
so you
it's
just
designed to
really
go.
need one device. Awesome.
Correct.
Cool. Well, thanks.
Okay, so now we're at the bottom. I'm going to just go ahead and consent to the privacy policy. It means that you're not going to share your accounts. You're not going to do anything illegal. And if it's found out that you do, then ultimately you're going to see that the accounts get banned. And I always say that because it's important that we highlight some of the privacy policies as well. Our app I understand it's not the cheapest app, but it's also not the most expensive app. But considering everything that you get with the support, the online help, the one-on-one trainings that we're doing, even these weekly webinars that have relaunched this new year, we really want to set you up for success. And there's really no need to just go another route and violate any of the policy procedures. So once you hit accept, you're going to see the QR code that you may want to scan into. And for now, because I'm showing the webinar, I'm going to take a picture of that from one of my devices before I go anywhere else. So now my event setup, this, like I said, once you get really good at this, it shouldn't take you longer than 5 minutes. Once you're really, really good at this and you've done a lot of events, it's just only going to take you probably 2 or 3 minutes to do an entire event setup. Then you're going to click go to designer, right? The designer portion of this, we're going to go here and let me see what we got going on. It's going to log in. And we also give you so many designs that you can choose from. So we have a design library that will work. And to access your design library, first of all, I'm going to go here. If you guys recall, I named this event with today's date, and it's a webinar. See what I mean? How I have tons of events. I don't want to confuse them and add the wrong artwork to the wrong event. So always make sure you have the right event up there. And then this drop-down menu down here is going to tell you, what am I working with? I'm going to be working with right now, since I'm setting up every option, I'm going to do the video option. And since I'm going to do a GoPro, I'm just going to go with this random template right here, 1440 by 1072. It's a landscape template. Once I see the silhouette here, then I understand that it's already selected this. If you want to design it, Touchpix gives you a great way to design this. If you go to Manage Design and go into Design Library, Julian, I don't know if you want to jump on from here. How do you feel? You good?
Yeah, I'm okay.
You want to jump on from here?
Yeah, for sure, no
And
problem.
and then I'll just
So,
navigate whatever you tell me. Just my throat's a little dry right now.
okay, perfect. Now that DJ is showing the designer, you have to know that we have some designs included in your subscription, so you don't have to pay any designer in order to get it. You can have it by theme, like baby showers, weddings, or birthday parties. So you can browse and you can select the one that you like, and you can customize it. You can customize it like adding the name of the groom and the bride, or the name of the people that is having their birthday. So it's quite easy to do it. Once you have your selection, you just click on it. Can you click
So
one, DJ,
okay,
please?
so in this case we click wedding. I see Thomas, you have your hand up.
Yep.
Yeah, just a quick question. Is there anywhere we can download these so we can say show them
Right.
our, like if the customer's building a package, they can select them?
You know what? Right now, there's I don't think there's a place. I do know that they were working on the PDF file. I don't know if that has been launched yet. But it's coming. If it's not there, if it's not in the downloads option, Thomas, on our website,
Yeah, it's
if it's
not there. Right now it's not there because the one that was over there, it was outdated.
Okay.
So people from design are working on this to have a new PDF file so you can show your customer and easily select it. But for now, it's
Awesome.
not
Thank you.
active. So you need to wait a little bit.
okay, so I'm going to select one, and while Julian explains the process, I just selected
Okay.
a random one, and it's
Okay.
going to apply it. Go ahead.
Yeah, in this case, DJ already select one, and automatically it gets loaded into the designer. Okay. So once you click on it, for instance, you can click on the text, and you will be able to change the text by double clicking. You can double click it, and you will have the ability to input your own text. Okay. You can change the color also. You can change the font size. As you can see in the menu in the left, you can resize it, or you can go directly with the options. So you can apply a new color, you can apply a new font. We have some font available, so you can use it. You can select the one that you like it. So you can customize it mm, much more if your customer asks to do any changes. Okay. Also, you can add more text if you want it. Or you can add your own logo. How you can add your own logo? You need to go to Manage Design. Okay. And please go to Manage Design, DJ. Manage Design, and then you can click in Upload a Sticker. Okay. In that sticker, you can, look for your logo in your computer, in your files, and upload it. Once you upload it, you will have it available in order to add it directly to your design. Okay. So suppose you're uploading the sticker, and then you will wonder what is the sticker. Okay, you will see it in the user stickers. Okay. Once you click on it, you will have some stickers available so you can apply it. Now DJ needs to update with the latest logo because it's not there. It's a past version. Okay. But you can add it, you can resize it, and you can relocate it also. Okay. You can rotate as DJ is doing it. And also you can flip. If you like to flip, you can do it. Okay. And once you are okay with your design, what you need to do actually is click in the Add to Event button. The orange one that is there, you can click on it and it will be added to your event. Okay, be careful with this because you need to have the right event selected. Because if you have another event, it will be added in the grown design, in the grown event. Okay.
One thing that I do want to say that I wanted to add to what Julian said, which is perfect and it's dead on, is I want to encourage everybody when they design their event to go to the manage presets, right? And save it as a preset. The reason why I say this, because if I'm happy with this event, right? And maybe I just designed it and I want to show it to my client for approval. I want to save it. And I'm going to save this event. I'm just going to name it the same thing, today's date, webinar, right? And the reason why I say save it, because it'll automatically save on your system. So if you show it to your client and they say, you know what, man, I don't like the font. I don't like these lines up here. Instead of you having to come back and recreate the whole thing, right? You can just go to manage presets, hit load preset, and you should be able to see it way at the bottom because that's kind of where the presets are saved. Let's go. I have tons of stuff, sorry. It'll be right here at the bottom once it loads. You see, it'll reload it, and now you can use it again, right? And make your adjustments instead of having to redesign it. So always save your presets. That way you're able to come back to it if you got to tweak it just a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and add it to event. Okay.
Okay, there's people that always wonder how to add it. As I mentioned, now the button is orange, so it's the only orange button. It's easy to see. Once you click it, you will have the ability to select which type of session you want to add it. You have slow-mo, you have boomerang, video, and animated GIF. If you are doing all the sessions, you can add it to everyone. But for instance, if you want to apply a different overlay to any file type, any type of session, you can add it, okay? But you will have to do this step for all the templates that you want to add. For instance, you can add one template for slow-mo and another completely different for video. And there's another one different for boomerang and also for animated GIF. Okay, so you have the ability to do all the functions with a different template, but you have to design one by one. Okay, so this is something that you have to know because there's people that always ask if they can do it. Yeah, you can actually do it, but you have to do it one by one. Okay.
So from here, go back over to templates because we activated. This is a template for all the video functions. And we're going to go back to templates because now I want to activate it for my photo functions as well. Let me see. Let's try to do the photo, the regular photo. We'll do a similar, right? But you're able to do strips. You're able to design however you want. But because we're just doing a quick demo, we're gonna do single shot. So we're gonna do the same one. And you don't have to keep the same design. You can go in and use a different design, right? So we'll go to design library. Let me see here. And just so you can see, you can filter through. We used wedding last time. Let's just use a disco photo or something like that and see what that looks like, right? And yeah, I'm not really feeling any of those. Let's use something else. Let's go graduation. Graduation was pretty popular as well. So let's go with those and maybe we can do something similar. Right, this will be your graduate. And note that with these, if there's something that you don't like maybe I don't like those leaves up there, you can delete every little element that you're not into, right? You don't have to be using every single element, right? Maybe I don't like that. And you can delete it or you can add to it as well. So it's really creative way. Once you're happy with it, again, make sure that you're loading it to the right event. I'm going to load it for photo. That's great. It's going to load for photo. And again, since I activated every single function, this is something that you have to keep keep in back of your head to know that everything requires an overlay. So we did videos, we did photo, and now we're gonna do the AI. We're just gonna go something standard with AI, and is that confirm? And maybe for AI, I'm just gonna leave it blank because I love some of our AI features. You don't have to design anything. Maybe you can put your, like Julian said, maybe you can just put your sticker, right? To brand it to your business, and that's the old logo, but we'll utilize that anyways. Or if you have a sticker already loaded, maybe you could have just gone down here to your sticker file. And I have tons of these Touchpix ones, so now I can load it somewhere where it's not going to be intrusive to the picture itself, or maybe place it somewhere subtle on the side, add new event. And that's pretty much how you design within Touchpix and how you create an event. We're gonna return to Touchpix now, right? Return to Touchpix. And what we're gonna do here is, it says test because we haven't activated it, but another way to actually know that every single experience has an overlay, you can click on overlays, and you can see that the GIF overlay has all, the boomerang has that, the photo has this, video has that, slow motion has that, and artificial intelligence has this. This is where you can figure out whether you loaded correctly your experiences, right? I'm going to go back to events because it looks like we may be ready to start this. Another quick pro tip that I want to share is, say that my settings here for today's event are perfect. They end up working out awesome in my event. I love these settings. I wouldn't change anything on the actual settings. A quick little cheat trick is, if you go to manage, you can hit duplicate event for another event that you may have next week, rename it. Maybe we'll just call it rename event 2024 and hit submit. And what happens now is all of the settings from today's webinar event are going to be duplicated, right? They're going to be duplicated. It's given its own gallery. The only thing that you're going to want to do when you duplicate an event is change the overlays, because obviously you just duplicated, you're going to have the old overlays. But all of the other settings, you don't have to go through the entire form again to copy your settings. It'll copy it for you, and just change your overlays and you're good to go. Does that make sense? Hope it does. Okay, so now we're going to go over to events. And I'm going to go over to the
We have a question for more travel.
Sure. Go ahead.
My question was, when you were in the overlays, how are we printing from the iPad photo booth? Like, you know how they have the strips? Is that an automatic thing, or is that something we have to set up?
Now, that's something that you have to set up with your printing device, whether you're using our box. You have, I'll walk through those steps right now when I scan into the QR code.
Okay.
That way you see where it's at, but that's something you have to set up on the back end.
Okay.
Okay, let me see if I can screen mirror my phone now, because we're about to get into some real cool stuff here. Give me 1 second here. Let me see if I can screen share. Oh. Let me see. All right, so you guys are able to see my phone, I think. Give me 1 second here. And this is my iPhone. I'm just going to use this as a screen recorder. Okay, here we go. Okay, here we go. So this is my, ooh, how's that gonna work? Okay, this is my Android. Unfortunately, I can't scan the QR code, but what I did is from a separate device, I took a picture of that QR code, right? So I'm gonna grab my Android phone here. This is a Google Pixel 6, right? The prerequisites for an Android device, I would recommend an Android device that supports Android 13 as its operating system. That's what I would recommend. So I'm going to go ahead and hit activate device. This is the Android setup. I'm going to go ahead and hit activate because I just installed the app. It's asking me for permissions. So I'm just going to give it permissions and I'm going to scan the QR code. Bear with me here. Scanning the QR code. And as you can see, it says it recognizes settings, right? Give me 1 second here, apologize. And since it recognizes settings, again, you're gonna give it permissions. So let's go with using the app permissions. Microphone, allow it to connect to any of the devices nearby. Allow it to access your photo. And because I'm using the external session, if I wanna use a Chromecast, this is very important for you guys to allow it to download the resources, right? Let's go resources, and let's go ahead and it's downloading the resources. But as you can see, you guys remember how I had that file size to my iPhone? It looks like the Android is a similar size, right? It's a similar size, so everything looks neat, everything looks proportionate, and it looks actually pretty cool on the Android device, right? So in order for me to access some of the backend settings for Touchpix, and we'll get to the printer section shortly, would be go into the menu. I would go into settings. You have all of these settings here. Live view background. I'll show you what that is real quick. But let's go over to, before I show you what that is, let me just make a couple changes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just use the back camera real quick so I can show you what that looks like. So if I were to use live view, remove background, and I go back, before I hit my photo button, you can see the back camera, what it's framing, right? You can see all of this. So that's good if you're using like a roamer. That's good if you're using a photo booth and you want to line your subjects. And it actually lets you see the actual overlay. So now if I click photo, it'll do the photo and it picks the right overlay and it snaps a picture. Processes the media depending on what you have, and it gives you all your sharing options down here. So that works great. If I want to use boomerang, it's the video function, right? I'm going to just hit boomerang and it uses a different template, and I'm going to run my hand across it real quick with a couple peace signs, right? And it'll do the same thing that Touchpix does with the normal iPhone, except it's replicated on the Android, right? So it's cropping it. If you add music, it'll add the music. It'll apply the filters. It's adjusting everything accordingly. Like you, and there it is. That's my boomerang, right? All my sharing options. Hit next. Same thing with video. Same thing with slow-mo. It does everything great. If you want to disable the live view, you can always disable it, and it goes back to your normal screen, right? So let's go back into the settings. Just that way, we can walk through them real quick. I'm just going to disable the live view for now. Everything that we transferred over from the web form, it basically transfers over to your phone. What I would recommend here is pay attention to these two here, where it says apply compress and where it says compress, right? If you look at the compress, LQ means low quality, MQ means medium quality, HQ means high quality, and UHQ means ultra high quality. What you want to do is always be on the ultra high quality, right? If you understand that you have great internet, I would always recommend to disengage apply compress because it'll give you the best results. But if you're struggling with internet, leave it on, okay? Because it gives you manageable files to work with. In my case, I'm just going to take it off just so you can see how it works. If you don't know anything about how fast your internet is, Touchpix gives you its own network speed test. I'm going to go ahead and enable that. And it's going to test my network here that it's connected to. And I'm just going to wait a few seconds while it's checking my internet speed. Sorry if you see a glare, but I'm trying to manage everything with one hand. But it's doing everything, it's checking the speed, and then it's going to tell me what the speed is for my network. Now, mind you that I'm on the Zoom call. I have the iPhone as a camera on the same network. I have my Android on the same network. So all that's going to play into how fast my network is working currently. So it's still checking the speed, and hopefully it'll be done shortly and tell me exactly how fast it is. Maybe it's taking up a lot because I have a lot of devices. Let me see if I can show you from the actual, I'll give it a couple more seconds. Okay, let's go into my app here. I should have Touchpix in here somewhere. I still have the old version of Touchpix, but you'll see. I'll do settings. In that specific case, it's asking for my camera connection because I probably had a GoPro. Okay, so I'm going to do a network test here. It works the same on the Android. So it'll do a quick test here. At least you guys will be able to see that a little bit more clear. So there it is. My test is, you could see I have a download speed of 300. That's great, but it doesn't really matter for Touchpix. What matters is the upload speed. I have a 7.8. If I was at a live event, I probably wouldn't be doing videos without the compression with that speed. But for photos, that's great. If you're just going to do photos, that's great. So always be mindful of your speed, right? I like I said, I recommend at least a 10 if you're going to be doing videos of upload. But you know, for photos, for me, that's great. So let's go back into my camera. That way you can see the settings from the Android, because we're focused on Android today. I'm going to go back into the settings. And that's all you need to pay attention to here on this session 1. Let me see. Session 2, for the person that asked about the printer. This is where you make your connections with printer. If you have our print box, you're going to select print box, right? And you're going to connect because it's going to have an IP address. So this is how the print box communicates. Your printer should be in this list once it's connected. And the paper sizes here should be able to select the paper size once it detects what printer you have. So your printer is going to command the paper size adjustments, right? So that's what you're going to be looking for. Once it makes a connection, you'll be making those. If you're going to be printing strips, you'll see something like 2x6. If you're going to be doing 4x6 pictures, then you'll see 4x6. So know that the printer section is there. The camera section is here. And I'm going to do a GoPro demonstration with the camera. Let me bear with me for a second here. I'm just going to put the default app right now while I get all my cables together. And if you guys have questions right now while I get my cables, maybe we can call a couple questions, Julian.
Yeah, we have 2 persons with the hand raised, Mo Travels and 365. So maybe we can start with Mo.
My question was, from my Android, how do I set it to where I saw how he waved his hand in front of it and it started with the motion? Like, how do you do that? I have an S10.
Okay, the motion trigger, you say. Okay, in this case, you need to go to the trigger section. Can you go there, DJ? Please navigate to the triggers. Okay, you need to go to the menu, the settings, and then navigate to the menu that it says trigger. I will not say the number because in the last months we have some addings, but I want you to remember that is the triggers, okay?
Okay.
So the first option that it's called motion trigger, that will use the accelerometer on your device, and that accelerometer will detect the movement and will start the recording of the session. Okay. So
Okay.
when you're doing this, I will recommend to you to set a countdown very short. Okay, maybe 2 seconds or 1 second, because the phone will detect the movement and it will take maybe 1 or 2 seconds to detect the movement. And if you have maybe 5 seconds in the countdown, you will have to wait about 2 seconds of the movement detection plus the seconds that you set in the countdown. Okay,
Okay.
so
So
that's
I need
why
to
I would
use my
recommend
countdown.
a low number to try to make it short and not too long. Okay.
Okay.
All right, I'm back here. So
Thank you.
let's
Okay.
make the
We have
connection with. We have
we
one more
have another
question.
question, DJ,
Okay,
before
go
you
ahead.
proceed. The other one is 365 is the one. I don't know if you still have the question.
Yeah, I still have a question. So my question is, when using Android for a 360 video, I see that there's not a lot of settings like when you use an iPhone where you just switch to the frames per second and all that stuff. Is that anything that's going to change soon to where you could have the same settings that you have on the iPhones?
Okay, and at this moment, there's something that it's the developing team is still working with that. Okay, because we're trying to access to the slow-mo settings in the Android. Okay, so for now, if you want to do really good videos with the 360 for the slow-mo, I will recommend to you to use a GoPro. Okay,
Okay,
because for
now,
now there's no chance to select the slow-mo speed in Android. It's something that is still we're still looking that point. We're working on it, but it's not ready yet.
okay, I have another question, just quick.
Mhm.
Um, is anytime soon, are we going to be able to connect the GoPro wired to the Android, or is it still just for iPhones to do it
Yeah,
wired?
it's already there. So you
It's
can
already
connect
there.
you can connect the GoPro to the device wired. Okay,
Okay,
and it's much easier than connected to an Android, to an iPhone, sorry, because in this case, if you have a USB-C to USB-C cable, you don't need any adapter.
okay, because
In GoPro, you need the adapter. In iPhone, you need the adapter. With the Android, you can have the cable, the USB-C to USB-C, and just plug it in, and that's
okay,
it.
because when I first started, I tried that, and uh, the support said that only wireless was the only way
Yeah,
I could
but
my GoPro.
this is only available for GoPro 10 and 11. Okay, GoPro 7, GoPro 8, and GoPro 9. Those cameras, those models doesn't have the ability to be controlled uh, wired. But this is a limitation of the camera. Okay.
Okay,
I,
yeah,
I,
because I had to.
I,
I'm an Android user, and I had to buy an iPhone in order to connect my GoPro 11 wired.
okay.
So that's what I was waiting for to see if it
So
was already.
I'm gonna show you right now how I connect wired. This is what
Okay.
this is the next step. Okay. So the next step here. Okay. Bear with me here. Okay. Because I'm working with one hand and I'm doing as best as I could. So let me adjust this little camera head here so I can at least show you correctly. That's still you guys can still see that that's the Android device here. Give me 1 second here, because looks like the phone is tipping over a little bit. Okay, give me 1 second here. Okay, so as Julian said, this is a GoPro 10. Right now, wired connection works on the GoPro 10 for sure. I'm using an Android Google Pixel 6. This is a right angle USB-C to USB-C, okay? So what I'm gonna do with Touchpix is I'm gonna go into the camera settings, right? And I'm gonna turn on my GoPro, as you can see. My video functions are for 1080 at 120 frames per second for people that can see that, right? And in order for me to connect it wired, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna flick down on the Android and flick to the left. I'm gonna go into connections, right? I'm gonna go in where it says connect device. I'm gonna go using the GoPro Quick app. This is how you make the initial connection, right? And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and it says GoPro. If you can see that, it says GoPro Connect Beta, and it gives you that it's only compatible wired with the GoPro 10 at the moment. I'm gonna select, oops, sorry about that. I'm gonna select Connect to GoPro. It automatically sees my GoPro 10, right? I'm gonna select GoPro 10. Now it's gonna ask me if I want a wired selection. At this point, I'm gonna connect the wire to the side of the GoPro, okay? You're gonna see the GoPro go into USB mode, and then I'm gonna hit connect GoPro wired, and it connected, bam, that quick, right? I'm already connected. I'm gonna go ahead, hit go back. Now I'm gonna do a slow-mo video real quick and hit slow-mo, and you're gonna see my GoPro go into action. Right, 3, 2, 1. My GoPro is starting to record now, right? I'm just gonna move it up and down, and it's all done wired. And now it's downloading the last media. This should be a lot faster than the wireless connection because you're no longer having to wait for the wireless to send the signal or to send the file over to the phone. It's cropping and resizing, depending on what your recording parameters are. It should come out a lot quicker than it was with wireless. So this is kind of what we're doing now. Let's see, it's still doing cropping and resizing. Depending on what you added as far as the overlay, the filters, you can still add, your music files and things of that nature. But it is done now with the wired GoPro. And again, this is a Google Pixel 6. It's not the fastest GoPro, but it's still something that I would recommend to use if you're looking for an inexpensive device that's compatible with Touchpix. You can also use Samsung devices. This is the Fold 4. But we're testing with a lot of different devices. We're finding that the Samsung devices are very quick. This is an entry-level Google device, and there it is. Right, so you can share it that way. I don't have active cell phone service on this one, so it's really going to depend on how you're choosing to share. So if I hit QR code, you won't be able to share via QR because I don't have active cell phone service. Actually, you might because it's connected to my Wi-Fi and this is a wired setup. So let's try that, right? Let's try that on the fly. So if I want to share via QR code, let's try that. I'm going to go ahead and if you guys at home want to scan it, let's see what it does, right? I haven't tried it yet with the wired GoPro. Technically, this won't work on the wireless GoPro, but should work on the wired GoPro. So it's still uploading. As you saw, my upload speed wasn't that high, but we'll give it a couple more seconds and hopefully it'll be up in the cloud, right? So let's give it a couple more seconds. So if you do a wireless connection with the GoPro without the wire, the QR code won't work because the GoPro is using up the wireless Wi-Fi. But now that you're doing a wired connection, it really depends on the internet that your Wi-Fi has.
What happens if you have a what do you call this? A mobile hotspot? when you're
Yeah,
using the wireless GoPro with the Android?
yeah,
using the wireless GoPro with the Android?
nothing. You won't be able to use it. So on that setup, you need to understand that when you're doing a wireless Android, the wireless connection of your Android is tied up to your GoPro. You can't bridge that connection and double use it. That's why we always recommend wired, because it's a more secure connection and you
Mhm.
still have access to your files. So it
What
really depends on that.
so what I'm saying is I have a mobile hotspot, right? And I can connect up to 30 devices on it. Would my GoPro, well, yeah, wouldn't it be my GoPro's connected as 30 and my Android is connected as 29?
No, it doesn't work that
No?
way.
Oh,
The way
okay.
your phone connects to your GoPro, they both
Mm-hmm.
communicate with each other. You cannot share a Wi-Fi connection outside of that. I understand that your hotspot can use up to 30 users. Your
Mm-hmm.
hotspot is the key device allowing other users to share connection, but between the GoPro and your phone, it's a one-way street. There's no sharing involved
Okay.
because the GoPro just doesn't, it's not capable of sharing a connection at this time.
Okay. Okay.
Hopefully that makes sense.
Does that also work with the GoPro 11 or just the 10?
Right now it works with the 10. I think our development team is working on making it compatible with the 11 and 12. I think for the Android, it only works for the 10 currently, but it works for the 11 and 12 on iPhone.
Okay.
So it seems like Android is always going to be probably maybe a step behind, but be patient. It's going to get there. It's just the development team has to jump through a little bit more hoops before it gets there.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Did that make sense? I mean, on how easy the connection was with the wired connection? Do you guys have any questions with that whatsoever? Did it make sense for you guys? It's always good to. I'm gonna go to the queue just to see where we're at with the online stuff.
I have a question with that.
Sure.
Usually when I'm using a GoPro, I do not use the GoPro's battery. I would generally use like a power bank to power the GoPro because I've read that if you use the battery something to go over a prolonged period, the GoPro overheats and stops working. So is it possible that I can use a USB-C powered hub to power the GoPro and the iPhone with the battery with the power bank, and would it still work?
No, so what I would recommend in those cases, so you gotta understand this, the GoPro battery, that was a main issue for the GoPro 7 and the GoPro 8, the overheating. GoPro has dramatically increased and improved on that. So from the GoPro 10 up, the overheating is not prevalent anymore. But I do understand that some people don't want to use batteries. My suggestion to that is, or my answer to that, if you have a iPhone or a compatible device, is to use one of these things here, right? This is a MagSafe battery. It actually, for me, it hangs behind my iPhone when I use my iPhone, and it charges my iPhone, which my iPhone then charges the GoPro battery. So I can get up to close to I think I ran an event 3 hours for sure, maybe just a little bit over 3 hours with using my iPhone and the
Okay.
original GoPro battery in there,
Okay.
right?
So basically you're saying I can use the MagSafe um
If your phone is
charger for
compatible,
yeah, so
correct.
I
If
can
your phone
use
is
a
compatible,
MagSafe charger at the back and then have that wire into a power bank because I wouldn't want the MagSafe portable charger that you have all that extra weight on the iPad. I would like to channel the weight further down the arm to the 360 with the battery pack
correct,
being at the bottom. Okay, all right. I
correct,
think I got it now.
correct.
My only challenge is that I have a GoPro 11 and a 12, and you're
Okay.
saying that the
Well,
11 would work with it.
Yeah, we'll get there. Just give us a little bit more time. Is just you know, our team is working on so many different things at once, but we will get there where the 11 or where the 10 is, because the 10 is the 11 is very close to the 10. There's just some changes that were made, and I'm sure our development team will get there very soon. So just be patient on that end if you're going to want to use an Android. But it's already working with an iPhone, so just
But hold on, I have both. I can use both, either the iPhone or the Android.
yeah. So
My
if you have an iPhone, it already works with the 11 and 12.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions?
No, thanks. You can move on.
Oh, perfect. No, I mean, this is kind of what I wanted to show, how easy the connection was, how to set up an Android. This is an Android, for example. What I mean with the MagSafe, this Android here is very entry level, Google Pixel 6. It works. It does a great connection, but it's not a high-end connection. Like, it doesn't have the MagSafe charging, but my Samsung Fold does. You see the ring there. I can attach the battery like so, like a magnet. It's not going to go anywhere, and it charges my phone and it charges the GoPro at the same time. Really depends what device you're using. You can do that with the Samsung 23. I believe you can do that with the Samsung 22. You know, you can get very creative. I mean, technology, you're able to adapt, right? But for today's webinar, we just wanted to show the connection, the event setup, the connection between Android and iPhone, and kind of go from there. So I don't know if there's any questions that you guys have additionally. Julian, I don't know if there's anything that I missed that you wanted to add, but that wraps up the Android portion of Touchpix. It's compatible with, like I said, with Android. People are using it a lot. We see a lot of users using it a lot with different Android devices. Anything that, like I said, anything that runs Android 13 and above, it's definitely recommended. I see people utilizing it with entry-level tablets as well. Samsung tablets work really well. The cameras are improving on Android tablets as well. For example, I have a generic Samsung tablet here. I think it's the most inexpensive one. It also runs Android, so you can use these as sharing stations as well. So it's really depends on your use and how you use it. You can mix and match. You can see it's a Samsung tablet. So if you guys have any additional questions, definitely would like to answer it before we wrap up today's call. But you know, every other week we'll have an English webinar, because we alternate from English. One week we do a Spanish one the following week, but we're going to try to cover specific topics. So if you guys have a topic in mind, go to our Facebook group, say, hey, I would love if you guys can cover this during the webinar. And if we get a lot of interest, a lot of comments, then that's what we're going to focus on. We're here to help you enhance your ability to use the Touchpix app in creative ways. And we want to help you out just achieving and executing your event. So if there's anything that we can be of assistance with, just reach out via whether it be the Touchpix group with Julian, myself, DJ, tag us, and then we'll definitely respond. Okay. So any other questions regarding this?
DJ, I would like to add something, and I don't remember if you already mentioned, and is that, for instance, you can mix in the systems, like using an iPhone to maybe to record, and an iPad to be a sharing station. You can have it like in online sync, and also with Scampix. Scampix another feature that is quite amazing, and is one of the ways that you can mix systems with Android and iOS. So it's getting creative with this, but you can mix your devices. If you have an Android phone and you want to record with that, and also you want to use an iPad as a sharing station, you can use it. You can mix and match. Okay, this is quite amazing, because you can work with everything that you have. Okay, maybe you have a tablet, maybe you have an iPad, maybe you have a phone, an Android phone, or maybe you can have an iPhone. You can use everything you have in order to improve your service. Okay, so that's my comment, DJ.
Perfect. Yeah, you guys have anything else you guys wanted to discuss, or another question you guys may have? All right, if there's no questions, we're going to conclude today's webinar. I appreciate you guys staying on board. And I see one last question, 365, raised the hand.
So my question is, so I'm using an iPhone and a GoPro to record on the 360. But for the sharing station, I'm using a Samsung tablet. I'm actually just doing the sharing like with the online sync. Can I use ScanPix like that, or does it have to be an iPad for the ScanPix?
You can definitely you can use your tablet with ScanPix, and it will read correctly. So it's possible to use it in the mixed way too.
So I'm going to end this with the bang too, because I do have a TV here with me with the built-in Chromecast, right? I'm going to show you what I did real quick, which is awesome, right? If you guys saw me while you guys were asking your questions, I was going through my settings, and I went over on my Android a TV session. I checked on external session. I checked on slideshow, right? And then what I did here is, if on the top right-hand corner from your Android, I flicked down, and I see my control center here. And as you can see, if I go to the right on my settings, I screencasted this. It's on. And this is my slideshow right here. It's playing just some of the demo items that I just played, right? It's only 3 files because I didn't do too many. But as you can see, it's working with Chromecast. It's working with an external screen. It works with slow motion. It works with pictures. It works with boomerangs. This is an awesome feature to showcase for Android, and all you need is a cheap LCD TV with Chromecast, or purchase an Android stick, from Walmart. They're very cheap. They're like $20, and you'll be able to get that effect. That's pretty cool, right?
But you said with the Samsung Smart TV, we don't need the Chromecast?
You have to try, because every TV is a little different. Like this TV here, I'll show you right now. This is a cheap Emerson TV here. I just happen to have connected to these TV. I have this Android box that's from Walmart. It's called the On Android box. And anything that's native to Android, it's basically has built-in Chromecast. So you can always buy that even if you don't have it. It's $20 at Walmart. It's a great investment, because this TV here is it's an older TV, and it's not a smart TV.
Okay, this one is fair, like decent old, like a month or two old.
Try it. So the best way for you to know if it works is if you go into your screen mirroring on your phone, and you can see the name of your TV. Since this is my kitchen TV, I called it Grub TV. I know which is which. If you can see your Samsung pop up here and you can connect to it, chances are it is compatible.
It did connect to the TV. My phone, it mirrored to the TV.
Okay, so then what I would suggest you do with Touchpix is toggle it off, toggle it on, and see if there's any changes, but make sure the slideshow is on under menu number 8 where it says TV session.
Okay.
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 But it is working here. As you can see, I don't have anything else connected to it. You can see it's only 3 videos that it's cycling through, because there's only 3 videos here in my gallery, right? See? So it's not like showing you anything
showing
different.
the full screen. When we mirrored it, it only showed the size of my cell phone. So it was because I didn't know the other step.
So the other thing too with that, just look here. I'm trying to explain it as best as possible. If I were to turn this off, right? Look, it's only the size of my screen, right? But look what happens when I turn it on, right? it's going to ask you that it's using the external session and hit confirm. That way it downloads the resources, and it's still like that, right? It's still like that. Close down the app. I'm going to reopen the app, and there it is.
Okay. All
It's
right.
connected again. So just so you can see that.
Thanks.
All right. I think we covered a lot today. I'm hoping this was helpful for a lot of people on the call. We value your time, and thank you for staying on. I know you guys are on pretty late on the East Coast, but join us on the next one, which will not be next week unless you're Spanish speaking. It'll be the week after that. Okay, we're gonna have them every Thursday. Jump in our group, right? Jump in our group if you guys have topics you guys want it covered, and we'll do our best to cover them during our webinars.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay, have an awesome night. Okay, good night.
You too.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.